just hit 1,000 miles on the Sonder Camino Arrival 1 hydraulic, and that's from last end of March, I believe. So it's been what has it been? Less than 4 months total, because I was away for the summer and for a few months and not riding. And the miles have been fairly split, more commuting miles slightly than long ride and off-road miles, but fairly split. A lot of variety in the riding. And so the price was $16.99 when we ordered them. We ordered two, and ended up, before they shipped, going up to $19.99, and they actually went ahead and shipped the updated model with new frame geometry for the old price. So it was actually a pretty good deal. And we got a car behind me struggling to figure out what to do. There we go. Now they'll figure it out. Yeah. Got to accelerate to 40 in the neighborhood to pass a bike. So I've already talked about our experience with the shipping and unboxing and putting the bikes together initially. The whatever money we saved, I shortly spent on upgrades. The wheel set, and I actually swapped out the cassette from I think it's PG 1130, 11 speed, 11 to 42, and I swapped that to the Shimano. I think it's the M8000, same thing, 11 to 42. In both cases, well, for the wheel set was just necessary. The stock 32 spoke wheel set that it shipped with was terrible. It was on, I think, shortly after we received them, that wheel set, the Nova 650B, was like on sale for $99 for both front and rear. So I upgraded to the wheel set to the Trail S, Industry 9 Trail S 1/1 hubs, and it's definitely probably overkill in terms of width for what I need, but built in the US, definitely mountain bike heritage and a bomb-proof 27mm inner diameter, so you can put on anything that would fit this, which is up to a 2.2. So basically into mountain bike tires. But the cassette, I really was out of curiosity on the difference in feel between the Shimano and the SRAM cassette, and it dropped a lot of weight, at least percentage-wise, for the cassette itself. So I should probably be talking more about the Camino itself than the upgrades. It changes because just after 1,000 miles, what my thoughts are. The frame geometry, and it's the aluminum frame that we got, obviously, but the frame is really comfortable to ride, nice and upright. When they changed the geometry of the frame, they shipped everything with a 50mm stem, which is on the extreme short side, but it handles very well. It still feels plenty controllable at speed, and but very responsive. And that was especially noticeable when we did some single track trails in Tallahassee. Those are also, those videos are posted. And for the daily commute, I'm wearing a backpack, and it's been a comfortable ride. I don't know, going from steel frame, old mountain bike, to the aluminum, I guess, I don't know if I can see how it in some situations feels a bit harsher, but with so many other variables, you know, wheel size, tire size, tubeless versus tubed, and air pressure, it's difficult to compare. But with the circumstances of the industry when we order, and the lack of stock and availability. I possibly could have picked up like a Trek Demone, like the AL5, the aluminum version with the Shimano 105, but what the hell? There you go. There's one for the bad drivers outtakes. But never would have found stock in a small enough frame for Atlanta. It's just, you couldn't find it. Though it seemed like probably because they may make fewer of the, you know, extreme ends of the frame sizing, and so you could just never find it for many brands, or most major brands. And that's a very different bike with, I'm running, right now I dropped down to 38 millimeter Panaracer Gravel Kings. I did have the Panaracer, the Gravel SS, which was 48 millimeter wide, which was super soft ride, tubeless, and worked very well on some of the sand roads that we ride. That if it's between, if we haven't received rain in a while, and there's traffic on it, or gets very soft, and so those 48s we could drop the pressure and ride sand without too much issue. But for most of the bikes we were looking at, especially in a price range that we could afford to, even a 38 millimeter wouldn't fit the Domani aluminum. It's listed as the largest size for the carbon version, but unless the specs are wrong, 35 is the largest on the aluminum, and of course that's actual width, and like measuring this on both the 24 millimeter internal diameter rim and this 27, it measures pretty close to 38 millimeters. So for some of the riding that we were doing, that seemed that it would be somewhat limiting for us in terms of especially softer trails and muddier trails. And really it's like kind of the soft loose stuff that's a problem, the sand in where we are in Central Florida. The other issue is the nature of our riding. Like we both kind of like the idea of getting rid of a front derailleur if we didn't really need the, you know, if we weren't really going to be racing. And again, my comparisons are limited, very limited. But even having an old, you know, triple sprocket up front, we just weren't using the gear range for to really justify the extra maintenance and somewhat cost. And I have to admit, I'm like very happy not messing with the front derailleur. Especially off-road when we're like pulling palm fronds or sticks or up into the chain on occasion. It seemed like the front derailleur was always the one taking the beating and getting out of adjustment. I'd say I don't need the extra gears right when I hit the only real climb on my commute and where I can feel the gaps in the gearing. So I suppose that overall, given the same circumstances, and the same market conditions, I would do the same thing. Although at the current prices, I think they're probably well, definitely there's more competition and options, especially if you're, I mean, if you're willing to forego the local bike shop for fit and test riding and just making the leap to and ordering online. Oh, I did that yesterday. Just stay on the sidewalk there. So I guess if I were to create a tagline for the 1,000-mile review, I guess it would have to be something like the Sonder Camino is pretty good at everything, not great at anything. But I suppose that's what we needed. suppose I should get a shot of the bike with our setup.